Hey, welcome to the Daily Brew. Okay, are you a big fan of Coca-Cola?
I mean, I feel like you got to be, right? Like in some form or
Yeah.
another. I mean, for me, like Coke Zero, I don't know what it is. Like I prefer Coke Zero over Diet Coke. I don't know what it is. I don't know how they can be different, right? Because it's the same thing in theory. But that's just
The
like my
sweetener,
go-to.
it's the lack of,
Oh,
or
I
the
see.
flavor. Yeah, I think. But on this day, July 10th, right, all the way back in 1995, some of you are going to remember that Coca-Cola announced that it would bring back the old formula. That's because 3 months before, they did that whole new formula saying it was smoother, rounder, bolder, but nope. People threw a fit, and within that 3-month period of time, they brought back the original formula just because of the outrage. And many were saying that it was too sweet, comparing it to Pepsi. Because I'm telling you, there is a huge difference.
There is a difference.
Yeah, you're either a Pepsi lover or a Coke lover. And I seem to think that there's more Coke lovers.
Yeah, I would certainly think so. But for me, maybe this is like a hot take, but I like both of them. Like, especially for me, like I like the cherry Pepsi, like because they both have a cherry flavor.
Okay.
Like the cherry Pepsi better than the cherry Coke. But if I have to go to one or the other, usually go with Coke.
Definitely. I kind of I don't like flavors in my soda.
Oh, you like it to be just straight soda?
You betcha, you betcha. And that's the same for like if you have an alcoholic beverage.
Sure.
I don't like the sweet and the fruity and the flavors. I just want straight bourbon or straight, whatever.
Okay. Just on the rocks.
On the rocks, just straight up. But yeah, you guys will remember that. And then, eventually they abandoned in 2002 the whole Coke 2. You remember that formula? That too. So stop playing around. When it's good, it's just good.
Yeah, it's just good. Now, little quick story. So I don't remember when Diet Coke came out, but it was sometime when my mom was growing up, and when it first came out, she really wanted to try it.
Yeah.
So they were touring I think a college campus or something, and they were in a church, and my mom's like, "Oh, I'm really thirsty," and she cracks it open. She didn't know how loud it was going to be. It, churches, it echoed across the entire church, and everyone turns around and stares at her, and she goes. And so she always tells that story whenever we're talking about drinks, because she really wanted to taste what it tasted like.
Yeah.
And well, the whole church found out.
There we go. If I were her, I would have just, whenever I turned around and looked at me, just took a drink and been like, yep, it is what it is.
Yeah, my papa, she had a nice talking to. I'll just say that.
I'm sure. All right, so let's talk about this. Play-Doh has come out with a line designed specifically for adults.
Interesting.
Right? Did you play with Play-Doh as a kid?
I did. That was classic. Now, unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately. I still had fun with it, but a lot of it was, I wouldn't say hand-me-down Play-Doh, but it was just old Play-Doh we had. And the problem is, if you don't seal it in time, it just becomes crusty and stale, and you can't really play with it.
Yeah, you can. A lot of good Play-Doh gets run that way, but this is called Blooms. It's sort of like a craft. You build the flowers, arrange the petals in the bouquet there, and it even has a spray to sort of preserve it, which is pretty cool. And then, you can enjoy it for months. It'll stick around. 10,000 adults globally show many are turning to hands-on creative activities to unwind in a study that Play-Doh did. So that's 1 in 7 that are engaging in arts and crafts for stress relief. So they feel like they had to do something here.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of making a comeback. I've seen adult coloring books. I've seen just kind of stuff like that, where just another way to unplug from your phone. Just maybe if you're not wanting to read, or you just want to do something that kind of eases your mind a little bit, and that's a good way to do it.
Do you ever feel like when you were a kid, you always had the idea you were going to build something with your Play-Doh, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it always just ended up in a heap where you were just hitting it.
Yeah, we had tools that we could make shapes out of, and so my brother and I were going to try to make the Great Pyramid of Giza, and it did not work out.
It
looked like a big snow top rather than an actual pyramid.
That was ambitious though, to go straight for something that hard.
And I think we found out we're not engineers.
Oh goodness! All right, well I like that. I can't wait to see what else they bring out, the flower set. Now what's next? Is it a Star Wars spaceship? I don't know.
I was gonna say, I think if it's popular, it could definitely kind of spin off into those more themes.
It could. Okay, legitimately, when is the last time that you've read a book?
Last fall.
Last fall. Okay, well, you're one of the few. Many out there, they're saying they can't remember. Rose Horowitz, who is a staff writer at The Atlantic, is the author of an article sounding the alarm over what she calls the end of reading. Now, this piece cites a study that determined the decline in reading. She found that Americans who read a book or even an article on any given day has declined by 40%.
Even an article?
Yeah, in 20 years.
Wow, that's
Gambling
crazy.
is now more popular than reading.
I don't
in
like that.
adults.
I don't like that. I think it's one of those where like with your phone, you just have instant gratification. I think with reading was a part of like getting warped into a new universe or kind of like putting your shoes in the author. And I think now that you have your phone at your disposal all the time, it kind of takes from that and says, oh, well, I have this that can kind of satisfy my cravings.
Well, you think about that. It said 20 years, right? What was 20 years ago? Well, the iPhone, 19 years? And then cell phones became in everybody's hand all the time about 20 years ago. I know it was way before that, but, every day. That is probably what happened.
Yeah. And the phones that can actually, read books or just like articles and stuff like that. So it was last fall for me, and now I made it a New Year's resolution to read a book every month. I already failed that.
See?
I know, it's tough.
It is. I love it though. Nothing like turning a page in a book.
I was gonna say, it's gotta be physical.
Yeah.